أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن تبعه وولاه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. أما بعد, inshallah, today we're starting new series of explaining the book of Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, the book of أمراض القلوب وشفاؤها. أمراض القلوب وشفاؤها, the diseases of the heart and the cure, its cure. So subhanallah, there is always an approach that criticizes only, or shows the mistakes only, or shows the defects only, presents and magnifies the shortcomings only. But the real approach, which is the approach of Quran and the approach of the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is to provide solutions as well, provide alternatives as well. And our author today is known as Shaykh al-Islam, or the Shaykh of Islam. And that title, it is not a title from Quran or a title from Sunnah, or it was not known at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, because the Prophet was the Prophet of Allah, or the Sahaba because they are the companions of Allah, or the Tabi'een. And the word Shaykh al-Islam came later, after Islam spread in the Persian and Roman Empire, where religious people were identified by their positions and so on. So those titles were very important to recognize the scholarship or the number or the amount of knowledge that a person has. Right? His name is Ahmed. Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, his name is Ahmed. And his title is Taqiyuddin. And his kunya is Abu al-Abbas. So the way it goes, when you say Ibn Taymiyyah, the son of Taymiyyah, and Taymiyyah is his grandmother, by the way. I mean, this is rare in Arabic. It is mentioned a few times, but he's known by his grandmother. But and it's a famous name. That is kind of like a nickname. We call it a nickname. So nickname also is Abu al-Abbas. Title is Taqiyuddin, and the name is Ahmad ibn Abd al-Halim, ibn Abd al-Salam, ibn Abdullah, ibn Abi al-Qasim, al-Khidr ibn Muhammad, ibn al-Khidr ibn Ali, ibn Abdullah, ibn Taymiyyah. She Taymiyyah, where? Taymiyyah is like 10 grandparents. Al-Harrani. So originally from Syria, from Sham, yani. And this is his name. So when we talk, we said, Abu al-Abbas, Taqiyuddin, Ahmad ibn Abd al-Halim, ibn Taymiyyah. The short version of it. Al-Imam ibn Abd al-Hadi, rahimahullah, one of the great imams of al-Hanabila, because he was a Hanbali madhab, Imam ibn Taymiyyah, that they said that his grandfather Muhammad was his mother used to call him Taymiyyah. His mother's name was Taymiyyah, and she was a preacher. She was a scholar. So the people, how would they know? Said Ibn Taymiyyah came, Ibn Taymiyyah gone. His mother was the scholar, was known as a scholar, as a preacher. So that's why they call him the son of such and such. Okay? Because sometimes when people call Muhammad ibn Abd al-Halim, or Muhammad ibn Abd al-Salam, Muhammad ibn Mamduh, and there is many that carry the same name and the same father's name. They have to distinguish by something: the tall, the dark, the limping, the guy one-eyed, something like that. So in here they call him Ibn Taymiyyah. So they connected his grandfather to his mother, the mother of the grandfather. That's one narration about the reason. Another, they said that Tayma is a village or a town close to Tabuk, northern of Saudi Arabia. Um, so the father, the grandfather يعني, of Ibn Taymiyyah, he was asked one time, why you are called Taymiyyah? He said that when I was making Hajj and my wife was pregnant, and we passed by that village called Tayma, which is close to Tabuk, the northern of Saudi Arabia, which is Saudi Arabia now. Yani. He saw a young girl who was very, very beautiful, and she came out from a tent in that town. Then when his wife gave birth, he said, Ya Taymiyyah, Ya Taymiyyah. Yani, she is like that girl that he saw in that village. So he called after that town. That's some of the narrations. But anyways, Taymiyyah is the name of a female and is one of the grandparents of Ibn Taymiyyah. He was known by that one. And his father is a scholar, also called Ibn Taymiyyah, and his grandfather is also a scholar called Ibn Taymiyyah. So we have Ibn Taymiyyah al-Jad, Ibn Taymiyyah the grandfather, Ibn Taymiyyah al-Ab, Ibn Taymiyyah the father, Ibn Taymiyyah al-Hafid, Ibn Taymiyyah the grandfather, the grandson. And all of them were scholars, and all of them have contribution to the Islamic fiqh and aqidah and hadith and all of that. So his grandfather is named kunya or nickname Abu al-Barakat Majd al-Din Abd al-Salam ibn Abdullah. He was a great imam of fiqh, jurisprudence and hadith. He said that he is the author of a book called Al-Muntaqa. Muntaqa is a collection of the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in regards to ahkam, rulings, and many books of fiqh as well. His father is Shihab al-Din Abu al-Mahasin Abd al-Halim ibn Abd al-Salam. He is a scholar who learned from his father, the grandfather of Ibn Taymiyyah, and he became a mufti. And also he among the scholars who wrote in Madhab al-Hanbali as well. But Imam al-Dhahabi said something nice about the father of Ibn Taymiyyah. He said that he was a great imam, a great muhaddith, a great faqih, but he was hidden between the sun and the moon. He's talking about the sun and the moon, the son and the father. So the father of Ibn Taymiyyah was hidden because he was so overshadowed by the production or the contribution of his father and his own son, Ibn Taymiyyah. Ibn Taymiyyah is like the son that he filled the world with knowledge, and the father was like the moon. Also, he gave lots of knowledge as well. So the father here, the middle, was not known well like the grandfather and the grandson. The brother of Ibn Taymiyyah also, his name is Sheikh Sharaf al-Din Abdullah ibn Abd al-Halim ibn Taymiyyah. He was also from the scholars, and he was defending his brother a lot, and he was also tested and imprisoned because of him. He has another brother. His name is Zain al-Din Abdul Rahman. He was a worshipper, and he was also a merchant, a businessman, and he used to serve his brother Ibn Taymiyyah and spend money on him, and he also went to prison with him as well. His maternal brother from the mother of Ibn Taymiyyah. The mother of Ibn Taymiyyah was married to someone else, and she has a son also who was the brother of Shaykh Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, and his name is Badr al-Din Abu al-Qasim Muhammad ibn Khalid al-Harrani, and he was a great imam and faqih and alim also, and he is the one who taught after Ibn Taymiyyah the knowledge of Ibn Taymiyyah. Subhanallah, the whole family. Ibn Taymiyyah was born the day of Monday, 10th of Rabi' al-Awwal, 661 of Hijrah, which was January 22nd of 1263 after the solar calendar. And he was born in the village or the town of Harran, and it is in Asham in Syria, and he stayed there until he was 7 years old, until the Mughals started coming to that area, and they started destroying and devouring the Muslim land. many people went to a place which is safer. So the family of Ibn Taymiyyah went to Damascus, and they stayed in Damascus. He sought knowledge over there from young age until he became a scholar in such a young age, before he is 20 years of age. So 16 and up, between 16 and 20, Ibn Taymiyyah was known as a scholar already, and not like a regular scholar, like top tier scholar. When he was like 19, 18, 19, 20 years old, he's top tier scholar in in Damascus and in the Muslim world. He memorized the Quran in such a young age, and then he learned tafsir and fiqh. And he started becoming a mufti when he was 17 years old. And when he's 17-year-old, started writing books. So Ibn Taymiyyah started his writing career from 17 years old, subhanAllah. Once he was 21 years old, his father died. And his father at that time was the sheikh of the jurisprudence of the fiqh al-Hanbali in Sham. He died in 682 of Hijrah. And Ibn Taymiyyah, Taqiyuddin, right away, he was 22 years old, he became the Sheikh of Hanabila. And he's Sheikh of Hanbali Madhab. He used to sit in the Umayyad Masjid in Damascus after Salat al-Jum'ah to make tafsir of the Quran. Then he kept studying. And subhanAllah, he reached the level of ijtihad in such a young age before he is 30 years old. Ijtihad is the highest level that a jurist can reach, when he can form his own opinions about issues that contemporary issues, or issues that does not have precedent. That's the highest level of ijtihad in fiqh. Before he is 30 years of age, he was among the global scholars at his time in Islam. His physical features, he was fair-skinned. He had dark, long beard, dark hair, very few gray hair in his beard and in his head. And he had long hair that reaches to the bottom of his ears. And subhanAllah, he has very sharp eyes that people, when they look at his eyes, they know that he is a person with a vision and sharp insight. He was not tall, he was not short, and he has wide shoulders. He was very strong voiced. His voice was powerful and strong. He was very eloquent, and he reads very fast, and he retains knowledge in abundance. He was known also by his hard, how you say it in English, very not impetuous, but very strong. What do you say when somebody's like his character is like not outgoing, but harsh. He has some harshness in his character, but he used to overcome that with lots of patience. So he resists showing that by more patience, not reacting. But if he reacts, it's very sharp. And he has some strength in his character, rahimahullah. So Ibn Taymiyyah wrote lots and lots of books. And I wish, or I ask all of you to, inshallah, read about Ibn Taymiyyah and the time at his life, in his life, like what happened, so the politics and all of that. Many of the students of Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah became Shaykh al-Islam themselves. And Ibn Taymiyyah learned under best scholars of his time. Al-Imam al-Tanuhi, he was one of his students. Al-Imam al-Mizzi, Al-Imam ibn Abd al-Hadi, Al-Imam al-Zahabi, Al-Imam ibn al-Qayyim al-Jawziyah, Al-Imam ibn Muflih, Al-Imam ibn Qudamah, Abu al-Abbas Ahmad ibn Hassan ibn Qudamah, um, Al-Imam Ibn Kathir, the one who wrote Tafsir Ibn Kathir. يعني those among his female students also زينب فاطمة بنت عباس بن أبي الفتح البغدادية. She was a very known scholar from Baghdad, Iraq يعني, and she was among the students of Sheikh Ibn Taymiyyah. So those names I mentioned are great names by themselves, and that tells you what kind of teacher. You know the teacher through his students, and you know the students through their teacher. So when you see a student and you see the knowledge that they have and the style that they have and the impact that they have, you can understand what kind of mentors and sheikhs that student had. And also, you look at the sheikh, you know them by their knowledge, yes, but you know about their impact through their students. So if the scholar leaves behind scholars in different, then you know that he was not only a scholar or a person, a container of knowledge, which is a great honor, but he was someone also dispensing that and raising a generation. May Allah make us among those things. Ibn Taymiyyah was known of his debates and because of his opinions that was challenging the status quo in politics, in the masail or the issues of aqidah, issues of jurisprudence, and all of that. It caused him to be targeted by those who are in authority and there's political power. And that's always a sign also that you see anybody who started becoming an impact on the society or in the community, any political or authority or people who are ruling in any capacity, you will find that not necessarily they're enemies, but they are weary, they are cautious, they are threatened, they are uncomfortable, they are unstable. Because authority, political or economic or anything like that, based on stability. And that stability not necessarily coming from religion, not coming from deen. So political stability not necessarily ruling by the deen. Economic stability is by the market, not necessarily by the deen. Social, not necessarily by the deen. Power, somebody have a position or something, not necessarily derived from the deen. So if a person, if all of those derived from the deen, then there's no issue. You will find the scholars of the deen are the ones who are guiding those who are in responsibility, so no issue. And that was in the Khilafah time of Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, Ali, and even the Umayyad times and all of that. But it was a little bit clashing because of the authority. So as long as they were aligned together, there was no issues. There was aligned together, there is no issues. But when it's not aligned together, then we have an issue. That's why Ibn Taymiyyah was always threatened, punished, put in jail. And he died actually in the famous jail of Al-Qal'a, or the citadel in Egypt. All right, so that shows us where it is. Now we get to the book of Amrad al-Qulub wa Shifa'uha, is among the books that Ibn Taymiyyah wrote. Ibn Taymiyyah has a book called Al-Fatawa, collected after his death, that Majmu' al-Fatawa, the collection of Fatawa Ibn Taymiyyah, which is about 39 volumes. 39 volumes. And Ibn Taymiyyah wrote lots of books in Aqidah, Al-Aqidah al-Wasitiyya, Tadmuriyya. He wrote many other books of Aqidah. He wrote books in fiqh also, and lots of books in the spiritual aspect, about the hearts and the disease, about the salah, and about about the Muslim character, tazkiyah, purification, all of that. Our book is among those books that presenting what would be the diseases that's threatening the heart and how you heal from them. Amrad al-Qulub is referred to in the Quran as the diseases of the hypocrites, when the heart is having a disease. Sometimes this disease does not make a person reach to hypocrisy, but if it ingrained in the heart and it is left without treatment, then it might reach to parts of hypocrisy and ultimately to pure hypocrisy. May Allah save us, subhanahu wa ta'ala. So without any further ado, let's get straight to the book. And the book starts right away by saying a section in في مرض القلوب وشفائها, the disease of the heart and its cure. Allah Azza wa Jalla said about munafiqeen, as I told you, He starts right away pointing to those who have diseases in the heart as hypocrites mentioned in the Quran. Ibn al-Qayyim, also his students, had a book called Sifatul Munafiqeen, the characteristic of the munafiqeen in Quran. And you will find that always there is a similarity between Ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn al-Qayyim in their books. Ibn al-Qayyim is more details, Ibn Taymiyyah is more fundamental. So that's how you see. So if you find a topic, Ibn Taymiyyah wrote about it, it gives you the fundamentals and the guidelines. Ibn al-Qayyim goes more in depth, more with spirituality, more about the aspect that people do not get into, the spiritual aspect, the depth of it, the secrets, like we studied the secret of Salah and all of that. You will notice this when you are reading it. So he said, Allah Azza wa Jalla said about the munafiqeen, Surah Al-Baqarah verse 10, في قلوبهم مرض فزادهم الله مرضا. In their hearts there's a disease. Since the book's name is The Diseases of the Heart, he said that word disease of the heart is mentioned in relating to the hypocrites. Allah said in their hearts there's a disease, فَزَادَهُمُ اللَّهُ مَرَضًا, Allah increased that disease. Also Allah Azza wa Jalla said, Surah Al-Hajj, verse 53, لِيَجْعَلَ مَا يُلْقِي الشَّيْطَانُ فِتْنَةً لِلَّذِينَ فِي قُلُوبِهِم مَرَضٌ وَالْقَاسِيَةِ قُلُوبُهُم. So Allah Azza wa Jalla makes what the shaitan whispers in the hearts of the people, that as a fitna, as a trial to those who have diseases in their heart. That means the whispering of shaitan will get to those who have diseases in their heart, or those whose heart is tough and rough and sealed. قاسية قست قلوبهم, and their heart is tough, rough hearts. Also Allah Azza wa Jalla said, Surah Al-Ahzab, he says, verse number 60, لئن لم ينتهي المنافقون والذين في قلوبهم مرض والمرجفون في المدينة لنغرينك بهم ثم لا يجاورونك فيها إلا قليل. Allah telling Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if those hypocrites in Medina, plus those who have heart diseases in their hearts, so the word diseases in their heart, and those who are spreading rumors and threats in Medina to make it to destabilize the safety in Medina, if those who do not stop, we will entice you, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to get rid of all of them, and they leave Medina after that. Also Allah Azza wa Jalla said in Surah Al-Muddathir, verse 31, وَلَا يَرْتَابَ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ وَالْمُؤْمِنُونَ وَلِيَقُولَ الَّذِينَ فِي قُلُوبِهِم مَرَضٌ وَالْكَافِرُونَ مَاذَا أَرَادَ اللَّهُ بِهَذَا مَثْلًا. He said, and for those who, the people of the book and the believers, not to have doubt about the revelation of Allah, and for those who have diseases in their hearts and those who disbelieve, they will say, what kind of example does Allah want by this revelation? Also Allah Azza wa Jalla says, Surah Yunus, verse 57, قَدْ جَاءَتْكُمْ مَوْعِظَةٌ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ وَشِفَاءٌ لِمَا فِي الصُّدُورِ وَهُدًى وَرَحْمَةٌ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Allah Azza wa Jalla said, all you believe, an admonition came to you from your Lord and a healing. Since the book has the healing of the diseases of the heart, the word healing here comes, which is Quran is healing, to what is in the chests of mankind, and guidance and mercy for the believers. Also Allah Azza wa Jalla said, Surah Al-Isra, وَنُنَزِّلُ مِنَ الْقُرْآنِ مَا هُوَ شِفَاءٌ وَرَحْمَةٌ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَلَا يَزِيدُ الظَّالِمِينَ إِلَّا خَسَارًا. And we reveal from the book, the Quran, يعني, what is healing, cure, يعني, and mercy for the believers, and it does not increase the transgressors except loss, over their loss. Surah Al-Isra, verse 82. Also Allah Azza wa Jalla says, Surah Al-Tawbah, وَيَشْفِي صُدُورَ قَوْمٍ مُؤْمِنِينَ, and Allah will heal the chests of those who believe, وَيُذْهِبَ غَيْظَ قُلُوبِهِمْ, and get rid of the grudge in their heart, or the hard feelings in their heart. He says, Taymiyyah says, the disease of the body is the opposite of the health of the body. And that means the health is not there. Said that the health is not there, and it causes the person their ability to taste and their ability to comprehend, the ability to see and smell and hear changes. So whenever you are sick, you do not see You do not taste the food and enjoy it. People, when they are talking to you, because of your pain, you are not focusing. When you see things, you are not enjoying what you see, or you're not comprehending it. And that's what sickness of the body does. Um, and he mentioned different types sickness. So he said this is this type of sickness we just mentioned, and there is a type of sickness that is the absence of the function completely. So a person's eye gets sick until they get blind, so they lose their eyesight. A person's ear have infection, they lose their hearing, they lose their taste, they lose their smell. So the disease of the body, it's either causes the loss of the whole functionality of the part of the body, or it affects your perception and the functioning of the rest of the body. Um, so he said, what causes that is the intake. Sometimes you eat more, or you eat less, or you do not eat enough. Um, so if a person eats less and that causes them sickness, then they need to eat more. If the person eats more and that causes them sickness, they eat less. So they need that. If a person is cold, they need to be warmed to increase the heat of their body. If the person has fever, they need to calm down or cool down, and so on. So he's giving us the perspective of what sickness is. It's either affects a certain part of the body, so that part is not functioning well, or lose the functionality altogether, or it affects the rest of the functions of the body because of sickness there. As Rasulullah ﷺ said, when a sickness there, the whole body supports and reacts to that sickness. So he said, if the reason is the intake is less, we increase it. If it is more, we decrease it, and we keep balance in the middle. He said, diseases of the heart is exactly the same. So a person gets shubha, doubt in their head. So he does not see the truth. So now the functionality of being able to analyze and see the truth is not there because there is a doubt now. It's like a virus that comes in, or a bacteria that comes in, then the body does not function. Same thing, this shubha or doubt comes in, a logic or analogy that comes in, it causes the function to be affected. So the person does not think right. Said, like you tell somebody, you know what, you're in a mood now, you're in a state of mind that you are not thinking right. Because they went through something, or something happened to them, or somebody brought an argument that they started doubting. And if the doubt keeps going, the functionality of figuring out what is right will disappear altogether, until you find that person is happy with disobedience of Allah and they are unhappy with the obedience of Allah. As Allah Azza wa Jalla said, إِذَا ذُكِرَ اللَّهُ وَحْدَهُ اشْمَأَزَّتْ قُلُوبُ الَّذِينَ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ بِالْآخِرَةِ. The people who do not believe in Akhirah, when Allah is mentioned, their hearts feel irritated. But when you mention other affairs, they are happy. When people talk about disobedience and talk about distraction, they're comfortable. When they talk about salah and everything, they're not comfortable. Why? Because they left the doubts and the lusts that come to them. So those are the two diseases, that the two reasons that causes the diseases of the heart, or the spiritual diseases. Shubha means doubts, and the shahwa. Shahwa attacks the body, attacks the brain, so the body functions in a way that not aligned with Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The body doesn't function. Or the doubt comes in the way that thinking, and also it will lead the body to disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So that's why في قلوبهم مرض, the Mufassirin said, means doubt. All or marad, that doubt is of the brain. Now, marad also of the body, like it has lust in it. That's why Allah Azza wa Jalla told the Prophet's wives, do not raise your voice or do not speak in a way that will make the person who have disease in the heart be affected. And that's more in a lustful manner. You are the wives of the Prophet. Do not give a chance to someone to think about you in that way. The disease will increase with the increase of its reason. or something like it. Okay, a person got cold virus. What causes the cold virus or the flu virus to affect their body? So their body will be affected as long as it's exposed to similar situations. It will get similar diseases. It might get COVID. It might get other respiratory problems because the flu came in because of the collection of those. So the disease of the heart will increase if you do not treat it and you keep it exposed to that. Can kill a person if it is not treated properly with rest and with healthy treatments. And the disease will go out with the opposite of what caused it. The opposite of what caused it. So a person is exposed to sun and he got a sunstroke. You do not treat them while they are in the sun. You have to take them away from that, and you have to provide them with fluids and things like that, and sometimes medicine and things that will do the opposite of what the sun caused the sun stroke. What are examples of the diseases of the heart? It is like a pain that happens in the heart, like anger or envy or having grudge toward an enemy. Somebody took something from you. That kind of pain is a problem. That's why Allah called it a disease, even though it is your right, but that's a disease. Like something happened to you, and we're not perfect, so we have that. That's why Allah said, وَيَشْفِ صُدُورَ قَوْمٍ مُؤْمِنِينَ. And after the believers were defeated or they have a problem, Allah Azza wa Jalla said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make them win over the disbelievers and heal their hearts. Shifa. Give shifa to their chests. And shifa does not come to something healthy. So if it's healthy, Allah will not use the word shifa. So shifa, that means there was a problem in their heart. That's in Surah Tawbah 14 and 15. So saving them from the pain. It does not mean you're wrong. And disease comes to you and you are painful. It's painful and you are in pain. It does not mean you're wrong. It means the disease affected you. So the shifa comes is not necessarily you have the disease which is wrong. We're talking about general meaning of disease here. So this is shifa from gham, shifa from worry, shifa from depression, shifa from unhappiness, shifa from sadness. All of these, Ibn Taymiyyah said, there are pains that it happens to you spiritually. Also doubt and ignorance. It pains the heart as well. The Prophet ﷺ called it as a sickness or a disease, ignorance or doubt. He said, هَلَّ سَأَلُوا إِذَا لَمْ يَعْلَمُوا فَإِنَّ شِفَاءَ الْعِيِّ السُّؤَالِ. Why they didn't ask if they did not know? Because the healing for ignorance is to ask questions. And that happened in the story when some of the Sahaba, they were on an expedition, and then one of them was injured in his head, a deep wound that he had to cover his head. And then he slept, and then he got in a state of major ritual impurity, janaba. So he had to take a bath in the morning. So he asked the Sahaba, do you find for me a chance to do tayammum? And they knew that tayammum is when they lack water for wudu, but they did not know if tayammum is okay also to replace a ghusl, the whole bath. So they told him, no, you have to wash your body. So he washed his head, and because of the water affected the deep wound, he died. The person died. So when they went to Rasulullah ﷺ, he said, they killed him. Why they didn't ask questions? Should they ask a question to those who know? They wouldn't have went through this and lost a human being. Because the cure, Prophet ﷺ said, shifa. So he called ignorance as a disease or as a sickness. Human beings supposed to be smart, supposed to be healthy, supposed to have no doubt, supposed to have all of that. So when you lack any of that, that means you are suffering from a sickness. Okay? So not necessarily you're a bad person, but you have that sickness. Okay, sickness. When a person is having anger problem, that's a sickness. When a person is impetuous, takes decision without, that's sickness. When a person is miser, that's sickness. When a person is reckless, it's also sickness. So always stay in the middle. And nobody is always the middle. You are not prophets. You are not ma'soom. You are not infallible. So all of us will have those diseases and sickness somehow, and we need that shifa. But there are certain sickness will lead to hypocrisy, as we said. The person who doubts in something, his heart is not stable. So his heart is in pain until he get to the level of conviction and knowledge. And that's why we said جواب شاف, يعني a healing answer. شاف كاف. So that's a suffice and healing response. We call it that in Arabic. When somebody give you a fatwa, say that جواب شاف, فيه شفاء. يقول شفاني بالجواب. يعني he healed me from the pain, from the doubt, the pain, the instability of looking for that. I'm worried. I'm thinking all the time. Disease or sickness is less than death. Death means gone. قلب ميت, heart which is dead means it's dead. Sometimes somebody died, it doesn't come back to life. Heart is dead, is dead. But sickness is lesser than that. So it is not alive, healthy. It is alive but not healthy. The other one is dead. And the one in between is alive and healthy heart. And what is the death of the heart? Ignorance. And it can die from ignorance when a person does not want to seek the knowledge. So the heart has death, maut, has disease, marad, has haya, life. And it has shifa, a state of healing. So the heart is life or death, healthy or sick. Okay? And the life of the heart is more important than the life of the body. Like the sickness of the heart is more dangerous than the sickness of the body. The death of the heart is the more horrible than the death of the body. And if there is a doubt or a lust that comes to the heart, it will increase the disease. And if wisdom and admonition enters the heart, it becomes a reason of healing and recovery. As the verses we mentioned before, that the people have disease in the heart, that they will follow the doubts and they will go with it, and they will not give a chance to the truth to enter. Now understand the two types of diseases, or the two types, or the two reasons of diseases of the heart. The diseases that come because of shahwa, lust, and the diseases that come because of shubha, doubt. All right? Doubt is more in the head and in the more of the process of thinking. And the shahwa takes the body away from fulfilling the purpose for which it was created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Quran is shifa to all of that, from the doubts and from the shahwa. Doubts, we solve it by knowledge. Shahwa, we solve it by taqwa. Remember that. So all the diseases of the heart comes from one of two things: shahwa, lust, or shubha, doubt. How you treat the shahwa? Taqwa of Allah, dhikr of Allah, patience, working hard on yourself, and so on. Taqwa. Being afraid of hellfire, being eager to go to Jannah. So you will do what keeps you away from hellfire and admits you to Jannah. That's taqwa. The doubt, you learn more and more and read more and study more and get mentored more by the scholars and be in the company of the pious and righteous. That will help you against the doubts. Also, the good stories of the Quran, the hikmah and the mu'idha of the Quran, the admonition of the Quran, the wisdom of the Quran, also gives the person tool and healing and to fight these both types of diseases. Reciting the Quran and pondering upon the ayat of the Quran makes the person scared from the punishment of Allah and happy and eager with the pleasure of Allah and wanted to go to the Jannah and the Maghfirah and the Rahmah, forgiveness and mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the Quran will do that. Quran also will give you the knowledge to answer all the shubha. Quran responded to the mushrikeen, the polytheists, the kuffar, the disbelievers, the people of the book. Anybody who have doubts, Quran responded to that. That's the knowledge. And Quran also softened the heart, makes you look around you and reflect on the revelation of Allah and all of that. So it heals both the body and the soul. So Quran purifies the body and purifies tazkiyah from zakah. You know, zakah in Arabic, it's not necessarily about money. When you say the word zakah means 2.5%, I have to give. No, zakah means purification. And like you purify your money. And the zakah means you purify the money, means make it grow even more. But you are actually deducting from it. So you are taking away the part that will increase. Like you have a tree. And sometimes for that tree to grow and for the stem to become thicker and bigger, you have to trim some of the small branches and leaves so it grows even more. And people come and they trim the tree, before spring. And then in the spring, you find more leaves than it was there before. So taking out something from an entity, it does not mean you are decreasing. You look to what is the result of taking something out. When you have a spring of water, the more you take from it, the fresher, the crispier, the clearer, and the more abundant the water will be. If you leave it, it becomes stale and it becomes stagnant and it is not good quality and there is no more work coming. So sometimes when you take, the increase happens because of what you are taking. So zakah does that. And sometimes when you do tahajjud, that's extra effort, but it gives you barakah in your health. Fasting, that's an extra effort, depriving yourself from food, but it gives you more sihha and health. So taking from does not mean decreasing. No, taking from, it is instantly decreasing, but it is increasing on the long run. Sadaqah, we also call charity, but sadaqah is from sidq, truthfulness. You are truthful with yourself. You are proving your belief in Allah. That's why Rasulullah said, "Was-sadaqatu burhan." Sadaqah is a proof that you are truthful with Allah Azza wa Jal. Allah is the Raziq, and I am giving that sadaqah to someone who did not spend the time and the effort that I spent to collect that money, but I'm giving to them willingly. Why? Because I'm proving to myself, and it's, of course, above that, proving to Allah Azza wa Jal that this money is from you and it's going back for your sake. So we are more of people who distribute the wealth of Allah Azza wa Jal. We are not the end. Because if you are the end, if someone is the end, it wouldn't come to you. But you have to keep circling around. That's why sadaqah extinguish the sin like the water extinguish the fire. Why? Because the sadaqah, you give it as a proof of sidq. And the sin that you did is a weakness of the heart. So your heart is strong by being truthful, and it is weak by disobeying Allah. And that's why the sadaqah, the charity that you give, it helps you get over that weakness that caused you to sin. You understand that how the sadaqah extinguish the sin like the water extinguish the fire. I just give sadaqah for the sake of Allah Azza wa Jalla. I'm giving the charity for the sake of Allah. I'm trying to purify my heart. Then the heart will be stronger, will not disobey Allah Azza wa Jalla again. Abandoning sins will make the heart pure, and abandoning the disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is like, you abandon the habits that caused your body to collapse. It was working hard, and then, you are tired. So now you rest, then your body becomes stronger. Same thing. When you leave the disobedience of Allah, it is like you're abandoning the bad habits of the body, the physical bad habits, right? Eating extra, You are not sleeping extra, you're not sleeping less, you're not eating less, you are doing moderate. Same thing for the heart. When the heart becomes like that, then it is easy to do more good deeds. Allah Azza wa Jal saying to the Prophet ﷺ, to the believers, that it is the bounty of Allah that make you pure. وَلَوْلَا فَضْلُ اللَّهِ عَلَيْكُمْ وَرَحْمَتُهُ مَا زَكَى مِنكُم مِّنْ أَحَدٍ أَبَدًا. Without the fadl of Allah and His mercy, none of you would have been purified. That's Surah An-Nur verse 21. Also Allah said in Surah An-Nur verse 28, وَإِنْ قِيلَ لَهُمْ لَكُمْ رِجِعُوا فَرْجِعُوا وَأَزْكَى لَكُمْ. When you knock somebody's door and you are told, not now, please come later, you leave, this is purer for your heart. Why? Because we feel offended. I came to you all the way and all of that, and you told me to go back. Then you are overcoming that. Maybe the person has circumstances. Maybe they are not ready for me. Maybe something came over them. So don't make yourself the measurement of this situation. Give excuse and a benefit of doubt to others. And that's why it is very, very important to do those things that purify the heart, which is against everybody's will. Also, Allah Azza wa Jalla said, lowering the gaze purifies the heart as well. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Surah An-Nur, verse 30, قُلْ لِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ, say to the believer males, يَغُضُّوا مِنْ أَبْصَارِهِمْ, to lower their gaze, lower from their gaze, وَيَحْفَظُوا فُرُوجَهُمْ, and protect their chastity. ذَلِكَ أَزْكَى لَهُمْ إِنَّ اللَّهَ خَبِيرٌ بِمَا يَصْنَعُونَ. That is more zakah for them, more tazkiyah for them. Azka, make them purer. So lowering one's gaze when it is, instead of looking at the haram or the prohibition of Allah, is helping purifying the heart. And Allah is well aware of what we do. Also Allah said, Surah Al-A'la, verse 14, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ تَزَكَّى وَذَكَرَ اسْمَ رَبِّهِ فَصَلَّى. Successful is he, the one who purifies himself. Tazakka, and give zakah, give the sadaqah, purify himself, help others, and mention the name of Allah and prayed. وَذَكَرَ اسْمَ رَبِّهِ فَصَلَّى. So salah, zakah, dhikr of Allah purifies one's heart. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا وَقَدْ خَابَ مَنْ دَسَّاهَا. Surah Al-Shams, verse 9 and 10. Indeed, successful is he, the one who purified himself, and in great loss is he, the one who did not purify himself. In Surah Al-Abasa, verse 3, Allah said to Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, وَمَا يُدْرِيكَ لَعَلَّهُ يَزَّكَّى. And what told you that this person is coming to you just because he wanted to purify himself, when he told the blind man to leave? Not now. So Allah telling him, he came to you to purify himself, so you should have given him a chance. Surah Al-Nazi'at, when Allah said Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam to Fir'aun, verse 18 and 19, فَقُلْ هَلْ لَكَ إِلَىٰ أَن تَزَكَّى وَأَهْدِيَكَ إِلَىٰ رَبِّكَ فَتَخْشَىٰ. So tell him that, don't you want to be purified, and I guide you to your Lord, so you become fearful of him. So tazkiyah, even though which is the increase and purification, that would not happen except you eliminate the evil first. The ground has to be clear first before you grow something in it. Allah Azza wa Jal said, وَيْلٌ لِلْمُشْرِكِينَ الَّذِينَ لَا يُؤْتُونَ الزَّكَاةَ. Yani, woe to those who disbelieve, the polytheists, because they do not give zakah. What does the shirk have to do with giving zakah? Because if people are taking from them, that they have a priority to help others, then they will not be polytheists. They helping others out of pride, out of arrogance. But if they do it out of their good nature, then that good nature will lead you to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for sure. That was Surah Fussilat, verse 6 and 7. So zakah is believing in Allah, having faith, which purify the heart, and that makes a person not associate with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So tazkiyah of the heart is what makes it pure, to find who is Allah Azza wa Jal, to believe in His oneness, to believe in His uniqueness subhanahu wa ta'ala, no similarity to any of His creation. Allah told us that the tazkiyah comes from Him. Do not become self-righteous. Do not say, I am better than others. فَلَا تُزَكُّوا أَنفُسَكُمْ. Surah Al-Najm, verse 32. Allah Azza wa Jal is the one who knows, who أعلم بمن اتقى. Allah is the one who knows who is most fearful and pious to him subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah Azza wa Jalla said about the munafiqeen, ألم تر إلى الذين يزكون أنفسهم بل الله يزكي من يشاء. Do you see those who are purifying themselves over the others? Allah is the one who gives purity and level of purity to people. So Allah is the one who makes people purified and having a status in piety. Allah is the only one. And everybody will be accounted for their good and bad, what they did. Also, Ibn Taymiyyah mentioning that amal, yani action and work, has its impact on the heart, benefit or harm. So when a person does good, it is being fair to one's own heart and purifies it. If a person does bad, it is zulm and transgression to one's own heart, and it ends with corruption. Allah said, "Man amila salihan falinafsi." Whoever does good deeds and pious deeds, they will benefit from it. وَمَنْ أَسَاءَ فَعَلَيْهَا. And whoever does bad things will affect himself as well. In Surah Fussilat, verse 46. Allah Azza wa Jal also said, إِنْ أَحْسَنْتُمْ أَحْسَنْتُمْ لِأَنفُسِكُمْ وَإِنْ أَسَأْتُمْ فَلَهَا. If you do good deeds, it's for your own selves. And if you do bad deeds, it's for your own selves as well. Surah Al-Isra, Israel, verse 7. Some of the guided predecessors, Abdullah ibn Abbas, radiallahu anhuma, Sahaba, he said, إِنَّ لِلْحَسَنَةِ لَنُورًا فِي الْقَلْبِ. For a good deed, there is light in the heart. وَضِيَاءً فِي الْوَجْهِ. يعني shine in the face. وَقُوَّةً فِي الْبَدَنِ. Strength in the heart. وَسَعَةً فِي الرِّزْقِ. Expansion in provision. وَمَحَبَّةً فِي قُلُوبِ الْخَلْقِ. And love in the hearts of the people. وَإِنَّ لِلسَّيِّئَةِ. يعني for the bad deed, لَظُلْمَةً فِي الْقَلْبِ. Darkness in the heart. وسوادا في الوجه, darkness in the face. ووهنا في البدن, weakness in the body. ونقصا في الرزق, decrease in the provision. وبغضا في قلوب الخلق, and hatred in the hearts of people. Allah Azza wa Jalla said, كل امرئ بما كسب رهين. Everybody is tied to what they do. So if you did good, you're tied to that, you'll be rewarded for it. If you did bad, you're tied to that and you'll be punished for it. And that's Surah Tur, verse 21. Also same thing in Surah Al-Muddathir, verse 36. كُلُّ نَفْسٍ بِمَا كَسَبَتْ رَهِينَةٌ. Every soul is tied to what it acquired. Allah Azza wa Jalla said, Surah Al-An'am, verse 70. ذكر به أن تبسل نفس بما كسب. تبسل يعني ترهن. يعني everybody will be tied. Remember that you will be tied with what you do. There is no one between you and Allah Azza wa Jalla will help you as a wali, as a guardian, or shafi'a, as an intercessor. And if you do or try to free yourself in Yawm al-Qiyamah from the things that you did, it will not be accepted. Those are the ones who are tied with what they did. Surah Al-An'am, verse 70. Health of the heart is injustice, and sickness of the heart is in transgression. Health of the heart in straightforwardness, and sickness of the heart is in deviation. Nobody can be pure just in every single thing, but at least you try your best. Even when you make a mistake, Allah will reward you. You try your best. Ijtahid. You try your best. That's why Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, whoever excel to find justice and to find the truth, and they found it, Allah will double reward them. And who will not find it, even though they excelled all efforts, Allah will still reward them. So reward and double reward for those who find the truth. Allah Azza wa Jalla said, you will not be just like anybody who's married more than one wife. Allah Azza wa Jalla said, وَلَن تَسْتَطِيعُوا أَن تَعْدِلُوا بَيْنَ النِّسَاءِ وَلَوْ حَرَصْتُمْ. Even if you are eager, you will not be able to establish ultimate justice. فَلَا تَمِيلُوا كُلَّ الْمَيْلِ. So do not lean toward one all the way. And there are many, they debate about this as a reason or as an argument that Allah said you cannot establish justice, so you should not be doing that, polygamy and all of that. Now I'm talking about it not in America, I'm talking about it as a rule here. Same Allah Azza wa Jalla, the one who said you will not be able to establish justice, is the same one who said you should be, you can do it. So how can we make the two verses agree? Yani you will try your best to establish justice. Your niyyah is to establish justice. Even if you do not reach ultimate justice, at least you are trying your best sincerely to establish justice. So it is not something that encouraging you to do it, and it is not something encouraging you not to do it. It's not a proof that you should do, and is not also is neither a proof not to do. I hope this should be understood fairly. And that's what we should say. وَإِذَا قُلْتُمْ فَعْدِلُوا وَلَوْ كَانَ ذَا قُرْبَى. Allah said, say the justice, even if it is against your relatives. يَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا كُونُوا قَوَّامِينَ بِالْقِسْطِ شُهَدَاءَ لِلَّهِ. Always be just in what you do, and testify and be witnesses in front of Allah Azza wa Jal for the sake of Allah. وَلَوْ عَلَى أَنفُسِكُمْ. Even against yourself. I do not like this to happen to me, but it doesn't mean that I will deny the hukum or the ruling. And we have many women here, they say, and those cases I found, it is rather that the husband go with prostitutes than to marry someone else. See, this comparison is kufr, can be actually kufr. And a woman who says that can actually become a kafir if she realizes what she's saying. Like, preferring a major sin, which is zina, than a sunnah or a permissibility, something permissible. Yani, I would rather deal with the husband who, have prostitutes than someone who bring another wife. And I swear by Allah the Almighty, a woman said, I'm 100% sure, in this community, Masjid Salam community, vicinity, she said that to her ex-husband, she divorced him, of course, and she said that I would rather pay for you to have a woman every day than you marry someone else. So she's saying, do haram, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. My husband sleeps around, no problem. He's that guy. But you cannot bring someone and marry someone and she becomes a wife. This is the mentality. That's extreme, of course, but I'm just telling you, this is not a justification. And that's when a person's heart is so sick to the point that they cannot distinguish between halal and haram. Yeah, halal is hard. Fighting for the sake of Allah dying is hard. It's scary. Paying from your money zakah is hard. Waking up for tahajjud is hard. Fasting is hard. كتب عليكم القتال وهو كره لكم. Allah Azza says you dislike fighting, but it is written upon you. It is ordained on you. So not everything in your religion means it has to be your convenience or something that you like and something you're comfortable with. Actually, most of the religious ruling, something that you are uncomfortable with. And most of the disobedience of Allah, something dear to the body and to the heart. It is by nature. Like, all the things that Allah Azza wa Jal, most of the things that Allah Azza wa Jal ordained on us, hard, physically, mentally, socially, challenges you in every direction. Hijab challenges you in heat, and it challenges you in fitting in and all of that. Abandoning al-haram. Look at us here, even everywhere now, especially in the West. Abstaining from haram for young people, for youth, boys and girls. It's hard. Doing haram is the easiest thing, and it is recognized. And people actually say that if a boy or a girl have a boyfriend and all, and that's the disease that's coming to us. Parents said, I'd rather have my child finish college and finish their PhD and all of that, while they miss around and they can do haram, rather than them getting married after high school or college and risking their educational future. That's exactly where we are right now. No, I would rather have my son or daughter get married, and even if they fail in marriage, I would rather have that than them committing sin and haram. I don't care what kind of success they will have. They will be a PhD, they will be like the most educated person in the world, they will go to the moon. What is the end result? And they'll go to the moon, they'll become an astronaut, they'll become what? A billionaire, they'll become the richest person in the world. And they committed the sin, disobeying Allah Azza wa Jal. What is that? What is the value of that? And you're standing in front of Allah in Yawm al-Qiyamah with being the reason that your son or your daughter disobeyed Allah and committed haram. That's the diseases of the heart. Yani. But Allah Azza wa Jalla says, you will not be able to establish justice, so do not transgress. Do your best not to transgress, but you will not establish ultimate justice. Actually, this verse is encouraging people to do, knowing that they will not establish justice, but telling them, be aware of not being transgressor. You will not reach ultimate justice, but you try your best. That is the meaning. Inshallah, we stop here. And the next time, inshallah, we talk about dhulm and the 3 types of dhulm. Remember, inshallah, my sisters, that's where we stop. So next time, you kind of tell us, or make a bookmark on this part here, and that al-dhulmu thalathatu anwa', and transgression is divided to 3 types, and all of it is from the diseases of the heart. Jazakallah khair, alhamdulillah.